Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about unions winning over Trump. Back in March, Trump signed an executive order that was designed to remove collective bargaining rights from federal employees. Well, U.S. District Court Judge Paul Friedman in the District of Columbia issued a preliminary injunction blocking the order. The judge ruled a key section could not be applied at agencies or departments where employees are represented by the National Treasury Employees Union. That union represents more than 150,000 federal employees. The order from the judge was very brief, just 2 pages, and didn't explain the judge's thoughts, but did state that an opinion would come in a few days with the reasoning. One of the key things at issue is a law that exempts certain national security-related agencies from the government's obligation to negotiate with labor organizations. Trump is trying to apply that exemption to agencies one wouldn't readily consider national security. During a hearing, the NTEU's Deputy General Counsel pointed to Trump administration documents and said, quote, "No president had ever tried to use the national security exemption in such a sweeping way. Those documents make clear that the executive order's objectives are twofold. First, to make federal employees easier to fire, and second, to exact political retribution against unions that stood up to the president's agenda." While we don't have the reasons for the judge's order, we do have this quote from the judge during the hearing. Quote, "He's willing to be kind to those that work with him, those that have sued him, those that have filed grievances, those that have complained against him. He's not going to bargain with. How else can you read what he's done?" So, it certainly appears that the judge is viewing the administration's attempt to expand the national security exemption as a game, more than an actual belief that the Department of Agriculture serves primarily a national security function. Attorneys for the union argued that, quote, "The president's use of the statute's narrow national security exemption to undo the bulk of the statute's coverage is plainly at odds with Congress's expressed intent." As is often the case, making the case relevant required showing standing, and the union said that if the executive order was enforced, it would cost the union money, as dues would no longer be deducted. So, what happens from here? Well, for the time being, the unions are safe. However, this isn't over. The attorneys have until May 2nd to submit proposals for how the case should proceed. It's also relatively safe to assume that if the administration loses, they will appeal and continue to try to remove protections from federal employees. This one looks like it will probably be a long-running case with a lot of delays, because the Trump administration attempts to remake the federal government hinge on getting rid of a lot of long-established protections. We'll continue to follow this case as it progresses. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.